One rapper swears she had to spend 76 days in solitary confinement, and another got her first mugshot at 11. This is what happens to female rappers in prison. Lil' Kim, self-proclaimed Queen Bee of Rap, found herself facing a major reality check when her loyalty to her crew landed her behind bars. The situation started popping off in 2001 outside Hot 97's radio station in Manhattan, where a shooting incident went down between rival crews. One person was injured, and the investigation turned up the heat on Kim's involvement. Instead of keeping it real with authorities, Kim straight up denied knowing anything about the incident or the people involved, even though evidence suggested otherwise. The streets might value loyalty, but the federal court system had different plans. In 2005, the truth caught up with Kim when she was hit with perjury and conspiracy charges. Despite her status as one of hip-hop's most influential female artists, with platinum records and groundbreaking achievements under her belt, the justice system wasn't trying to hear it. The court handed down a sentence of 1 year and 1 day in federal prison, plus a $50,000 fine, showing that even the Queen Bee wasn't above the law. Behind bars, Kim had to switch up her whole routine. The fast-paced life of a rap superstar got replaced with what she later described as a very bad boarding school. But the time out from the industry grind had its silver linings. She found time to rest and even built solid connections with other women on the inside.
Lil' Kim, what was the best thing about jail? Was there anything good about jail that you could say? Was there anything good? One good thing about jail?
You know what? I really met good people.
Yeah?
It's so funny. There's a lot of the smartest people are in prison. They don't even have people to like fix the electrical work when it breaks down, like the payphones. They fix them, and they're very smart. So I met a lot of good friends in prison.
Smarty.
Even while locked up, Kim kept her career moving. Her fourth album, The Naked Truth, dropped during her bid, though behind bars meant she couldn't promote it like she wanted to. And after touching down in July 2006, Kim had to face the reality of rebuilding. The experience changed her whole perspective, leading her to leave Atlantic Records and go independent, taking control of her own destiny in the game. But just when you think you've reached the top of your game, one heated moment can send everything crashing down. Remy Ma was at the peak of her game when everything came crashing down. The Terror Squad Femc had been making major moves in the hip-hop scene, dropping hits like Conceited and holding it down as one of the coldest female MCs in the Bronx. But in 2007, a dispute over missing money turned her rising star into a cautionary tale. The incident that changed everything went down with Makita Barnes-Joseph, who was reportedly Remy's friend at the time. What started as an argument over $3,000 in missing cash escalated into violence outside a Manhattan nightclub, leaving Barnes-Joseph shot and Remy Ma facing serious charges. While Remy maintained that the shooting was accidental, the courts weren't buying it. The evidence was stacked up, and Remy found herself facing charges of intentional assault, weapons possession, and attempted coercion. The verdict hit like a ton of bricks. 6 years at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women. And just like that, Remy Ma went from spitting bars on stage to being behind bars. The conviction wasn't just a pause in her career, it was a complete derailment of what should have been her prime years in the game. Her time inside was no joke. Remy later described it as the worst experience of her life, something that hit different than any other challenge she'd faced before.
Not really the inmates, it's more so the officers are real crazy. And it calmed down a bit. Sometimes they get Remy seasoned out for a minute and just going hard on me. But I think the whole, I think when I first got here, they wanted to show everybody that I'm not different from anybody else.
Make an example out of you.
But
basically,
in all actuality,
The impact of those 6 years stayed with her even after coming home, leaving deep scars that weren't visible like that facial scar she once thought was her biggest problem.
Before that, I used to be like the worst thing that ever happened to me. Even though I didn't do it, I got cut in my face.
Right.
And I used to be stressed about it. Like it was like a thing because some people like, I don't even notice. It gives you character. I like it. Shut the fuck up. It's not on your face. That's why you're saying that. Right. But it used to really bother me a lot. And I used to be like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And then there was the penitentiary. country. And I was like, oh, this is not cool. Like, this is like, it was the worst thing that I've ever endured in my life ever.
That's interesting.
She kept quiet about most of what went down behind those walls, staying true to the code she grew up with.
With people just coming down, they saying, and I remember back in 90-something, this is what happened in 2005.
How do you feel about that when you just sit niggas literally just be snitching?
Shut up!
Snitching for the camera.
Up! Why are we telling this? No, it always starts with like, nobody knows this. Like, because it was a secret. No one was supposed to know.
They do it for the cloud. You turn the camera on, they'll tell everything.
And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't come from that. I don't believe in that. I feel like that there's things that people are not supposed to be, that's not supposed to be told or known. Like, you're supposed to keep it like that.
When Remy finally got out in 2014, she had to face the reality that the game had changed while she was away. 6 years is a lifetime in hip-hop, and rebuilding her career meant starting almost from scratch. But for some artists, making it in the music industry isn't enough. Samira Krem came up in Detroit's hip-hop scene as one half of the duo Deuces Wild, making waves alongside her partner, Noel Nikki Brown. In the early 2000s, she was living that dream life, dropping hits and collaborating with heavy hitters like Jay-Z, Eminem, and Mary J. Blige. But behind the scenes, Krem was running a different kind of hustle that would eventually cost her everything. Between 2014 and 22, Kream and her Deuces Wild partner were running one of the wildest tax fraud schemes the game had seen. They weren't just cutting corners, they were straight up finessing the system, filing 122 fraudulent claims with the IRS and various state treasuries. The numbers were astronomical. They were trying to secure about $27 million in total, with $13.7 million targeted from the IRS and another $14.7 million from state coffers. For a minute, they were getting away with it too. The duo managed to secure $8.5 million before the feds caught wind of their scheme. But what really had the IRS scratching their heads was how Kream kept the hustle going, even after getting caught the first time. In February 2023, the judge wasn't trying to hear any excuses. U.S. District Judge Linda Parker dropped the hammer, sentencing Kream to 4.5 years behind bars, plus 3 years of supervised release afterward. The IRS's special agent in charge, Charles Miller, called the scheme out for what it was, an astonishing amount of fraud that just wouldn't stop even after Kream got caught. Inside federal prison, Kream's days will be a far cry from her music industry lifestyle. Her world narrowed to structured routines, scheduled meals, mandatory work assignments, and limited personal freedoms. The case showed how some artists will risk it all for a quick come-up, even when they're already winning in the music game. Kream went from collaborating with industry legends to calculating fake tax returns, proving that sometimes the addiction to fast money can overpower the love of the art. But sometimes, when keeping it real goes wrong, it can go really, really wrong. Foxy Brown was that girl in the mid-90s, no cap. After dropping Il Na Na in 96 and watching it hit number 7 on Billboard 200, she was untouchable. Her collab with Jay-Z on I'll Be had the streets on lock, and when she joined forces with Nas and them to form The Firm, it was a wrap. Their album hit number 1 straight out the gate, and by 99, her solo joint, China Doll, was doing numbers, proving she could hold it down on her own. But Foxy's hot temper started catching up to her career faster than her bars could keep up. The situation finally caught her a bid, starting with some drama over a manicure at a nail salon in Manhattan back in 2004. When she violated probation for that case, the judge wasn't trying to hear it and sent her to Rikers Island in 2007. Life behind bars proved that even the baddest in the game could catch it rough. On her way to the mess hall, Foxy got into it with another inmate, landing her 76 days in solitary confinement.
You cannot prepare for. You can't prepare for going to commissary with 400 other girls in greens. Having 2 outfits for the entire year, 2 jail suits.
You had only
where
2
you're
outfits.
Shackled like criminals. Like, this is real. Like, this is real.
And you're not
like,
a criminal.
We were shackled. I
Lauren
was
is not a
shackled.
criminal.
Like, when they're taking you to a visit, you have to be completely shackled, because one prisoner can be. It meant literally. Oh, Lord.
Did they step to you in jail?
I mean,
Were they trying to f with you?
No, honestly, you'd have thought Obama was in the building. The girls loved me.
Right.
I had the one or two few
haters?
COs who would hate because
The COs
I would have a
hating?
million letters, and then they would be like, random search, Marshawn, and go through every letter, and like stuff like that.
Right.
Or
The isolation wasn't the move. She caught more heat for coming at corrections officers sideways and refusing drug tests. Now, while she was locked down, her album, Brooklyn's Don Diva, dropped. But without being able to promote it, the project couldn't get the shine it deserved. After touching down, Foxy kept it a buck about her time at Rikers, calling it an eye-opener that changed her whole perspective. But the truth was, this wasn't Foxy's first rodeo with the law. She'd been catching cases left and right, from assault charges to probation violations. Her reputation for being quick to pop off was becoming more famous than her music. And between her ongoing beef with Lil' Kim and various other industry drama, Foxy's legal troubles were overshadowing everything else. The nail salon incident might sound minor compared to some other rappers' cases, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back. After getting out, Foxy tried to bounce back with music, but the damage was done. Her story became less about her fierce lyrics and more about how keeping it too real in the streets ended up costing her her freedom, even if it was for a shorter bid than some of her peers. But in this world, you can be a musical genius, win multiple Grammys if you want, and even change the face of hip-hop. But even legends aren't immune to the taxman's reach. Lauryn Hill was no regular artist. She was that rare type who could do it all. Coming up with the Fugees, she blessed us with classics like The Score, dropping bars and vocals that shook the industry. She wasn't just making music, guys, she was making history, securing 5 Grammys, and cementing her spot as one of hip-hop's greatest. But even the miseducated can get schooled when it comes to the IRS. Despite all her success, Hill found herself caught up in a different kind of score, failing to file tax returns between 2005 and 7. And the government wasn't trying to hear excuses. In 2013, the verdict came down: 3 months in federal prison at the Federal Correctional Institution in Danbury, Connecticut, plus another 3 months of house arrest and 9 months of supervised release. Before heading in, Hill managed to pay back about $900,000 of what she owed. But the judge wasn't going to let her slide just because she made good on a payment. The message was clear that even music royalty has to play by the same rules as everyone else. Hill kept her head up during her bid, though. About 2 weeks in, she let her fans know through a letter that she was staying focused on finding purpose in the experience. Thank you for the letters of concern and well wishes that I receive in the mail every day. Although I may not be able to write everyone back, please know that they have been received, read, acknowledged, and appreciated. Despite the adjustment period, she found herself welcomed by a community of women who were making the best of their situation. The love from her fans on the outside kept her spirits up too, with letters rolling in daily, showing that her people hadn't forgotten about her.
In similar style backgrounds as far as our parents pushing us, wanting us to achieve the most, and then, going different routes. She really went the positive route, though. And just pretty much, for the most part, I went to the streets. Right. She stayed in the arts. And then I guess, just life and challenges and men and just things, you know.
Hill learned the hard way that the government keeps the same energy for everyone when it comes to their money. The irony wasn't lost on anyone, though. The artist who gave us the miseducation got educated by the federal prison system on the importance of handling your taxes. But what happens when that justice system has its eyes on you before you even hit puberty? Before her rap career could really take off, Stunna Girl's path was marked by a different kind of bar. Growing up in Oak Park, Sacramento with her mom locked up and stability hard to come by, she caught her first case early. We're talking first mugshot at age 11. The system had its eyes on her from jump, and by her teenage years, she was facing some heavy charges.
I got a mugshot when I was 11, yeah. Hair all sticking up from fighting.
Only time going to juvenile? Did you have other times?
No, actually, most of my life consisted in jail. A good percentage of my life, actually.
The courts weren't playing with her case. They hit her with 4 years in juvie for robbery and gun charges.
And this time they stick the FBI on me because I'm only 14. They're like, how this little girl get across state lines, So now I'm not knowing I got the FBI on me, so they're already watching what I'm doing. And so it was like, then I actually caught an actual real case. And then that gave me 3 years in CYA. I was in CYA, and I got released when I was 17.
Now, most kids her age are worried about high school drama, but Stunna was doing 3 years behind walls, running her pod, and building a reputation in every unit she touched down in.
CYA?
CYA.
California Youth Authority. All you staff there. Yes.
CYA. All right.
Hated all y'all. It gave me hell.
That was for the robbery charge, or that was something more serious than that?
It was a gun charge, a robbery charge. I had fake IDs, plus an assault. They brought up an old ass assault case and just tried to just do me. And they gave me 4 years. They hit me with 4 years, and I was in juvenile hall, sick. I remember nobody was at my court date because I didn't call nobody because I didn't think I was gonna get no time. I'm like, oh, they just finna me out again. I'm gonna run. No, it was like, yep, little girl, you got 4 years. I remember I was sick, like, oh shit, I really got 4.
Even though she was young, she was already showing leadership, earning respect from the other inmates who could vouch for her movements.
Yeah, I was the baddest there. Like, I was another place where they couldn't control me. It was like, I was out of control.
Were you winning most of these fights?
Yeah, I ain't lose none. And I ain't
Didn't
turning
lose
down none.
nothing.
Wasn't turning down nothing, didn't lose nothing. Yes. Period.
When she finally got out at 17, the streets weren't exactly rolling out the red carpet. All she had to her name were her jail clothes and some letters from the inside. Her grandmother, who was battling her own demons with addiction, kicked her out the same day she came home. But sometimes the hardest circumstances breed the strongest hustle. Stunna Girl already had a local fan base in Sacramento from that reputation, and she turned that street cred into a rap career. Now, some artists don't see prison as the ending. Rather, they rise because of it. 9 years behind bars can either break you or make you. And for Poca Honest, it was definitely the latter. Her bid became a transformative journey that completely flipped her whole approach to life.
How many fights you think you got into while you was in there? Dang.
Yeah, it was quite a few. A lot of them, didn't even never get to the administrations. They wasn't never even aware of it. But I didn't go looking for fights or nothing like that.
So
I didn't want to fight.
Someone came to you with it.
Yeah.
But jail has its tough times too.
I remember I got into a fight where it was actually with a stud. And, she was a different race, and she said some things she shouldn't have said that was racist, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't even what she said, it was how she said it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like you stood over me with the vein, like you meant it. You know what I'm saying? You meant those words, like you real deal, like bossed up. So, yep, that was.
And what you had to get on her bones, huh?
Yeah, bad too.
Instead of letting the system get to her, Poca Honest went hard on self-improvement. She stayed in the books, took every program she could get her hands on, and started connecting with mentors who could show her the way. What's wild is that prison actually helped her discover her true calling. Music became her outlet and her voice behind the walls.
The things that come to you break you, you gonna come out broken. You take the things that come to you and allow it to make you stronger, a better person, and learn from them. You know what I'm saying? You got no choice but to grow.
Right. Her bars weren't just hitting with the inmates. They became anthems that brought unity to the yard. The inmates were really feeling her music, memorizing lyrics word for word. Most artists are trying to build their fan base in the clubs or maybe the streets, but Poca Honest built hers in the pen.
Everyone in there was like rocking with you and motivating you and stuff like that.
Yeah, they could rap all my songs word for word.
The old reckless and wild energy that got her locked up was replaced with a more calculated and focused approach. She wasn't just doing time, she was investing it in herself. Every day was about leveling up, whether that meant expanding her knowledge, perfecting her flow, or building genuine connections with others who were on the same path to change.
How long was you down for?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Being locked up for 9 years, the person that you are today, opposed to the person you was when you went in?
Totally different.
Totally different. How so?
My mindset is totally different. The way I think, the way I handle things, the way I see things, the way I'm just woke. Like back then, I was just reckless, young, and...
When she finally touched down after 9 years, Pocahontas wasn't the same person who went in. She came out with clear goals, especially about her music career. All those years of writing and perfecting her craft behind bars weren't for nothing. She was ready to take her shot at the industry, this time doing it the right way. But sometimes a moment of rage can erase years of success faster. Da Brat's rise to fame was straight out of a hip-hop fairy tale. After winning a rap contest on Yo MTV Raps in '92, she caught Jermaine Dupri's ear and got signed to So So Def. Her debut album, Funkdafied, didn't just hit it. It made history, with Da Brat becoming the first female solo rapper to go platinum. She was everywhere, from hit singles to movie screens, collaborating with everyone from Missy Elliott to TLC. But all that success came to a screeching halt over a bottle of rum on Halloween night at Studio 72, JD's Atlanta spot, when Da Brat lost her cool with one of the waitresses. Instead of walking away, she grabbed a bottle and struck that woman in the face. The attack was no joke. It left the victim with permanent scars, and Da Brat facing serious charges. This wasn't her first time catching a case over club beef either. Back in 2000, she already caught heat for another incident in Buckhead, Georgia. That time it was over her VIP seating, and she ended up beating someone with a gun, leaving him with 6 stitches. She managed to dodge serious time on that one, copping a plea deal for 80 hours of community service, a year's probation, and a $1,000 fine. But the Halloween incident in Atlanta wasn't going away with just community service. The courts weren't playing with the severity of the victim's injuries and Da Brat's history of violence. The sentence came down hard, showing that her platinum plaques and hit records couldn't save her from facing consequences.
What was it like being in there for them 2 years?
Yeah, my life died as I knew it. You know what I'm saying? My life died as I knew it being locked up. But I made the best of it. I was definitely a boss. I knew what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? I probably got my head braided for like $5 bomb.
There were some tough moments for her, especially with the guards. In one interview, she said one guard picked a fight with her for no reason and threw her in lockup. It was a moment where she had to decide whether she should hold her peace or risk remaining in lockup for longer. This all highlighted how quick things could switch up in the industry. One minute you're making that history being the first female rapper going platinum, and then you're facing serious time over some club violence. And if you like videos like this, hey, you know what to do. Help us out and subscribe to the channel.